What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center Tuesday night experience. I'm grateful to be here with you tonight, and certainly hopeful that your week is off to a tremendous start. It's Tuesday, but it feels like Saturday to me. It has been a blistering 48 hours. Very busy, but certainly glad to be here tonight, and certainly hope that you are as well. Do me a favor, I want you to start sharing this video quickly. I'm glad to be with you on Virtual Life Study tonight. We're on all of our networks, and this is going to be another one of those very powerful lessons that will very likely be a series. And the reason being is because this is so much content to give up in one night. I know I won't get through this in 40 minutes. It's going to be nearly incredible. But it's a very important topic and that I want to deal with tonight. And we're going to teach from it tonight. We're going to teach start over. And this is powerful because, again, I have so many conversations with people in so many different spaces about the challenges of starting over and what starting over looks like, what sometimes starting over feels like, and really how to navigate those waters. And so tonight, I really want to deal with this in a very practical way. Give you some biblical references or biblical texts that you can connect the dots to with this particular subject. And I think you're going to get a lot out of it, no doubt about it. And so, again, I'm going to do as much as I can tonight, but don't be shocked. I'm telling you in advance, don't be shocked if there is a part two, because this is a powerful message, and I'm glad to be here. Let's go through the networks really quickly. I don't want to absolve my tea time. Let's go through the networks really quickly so we can dive right into tonight. All right. Facebook, good evening to you. It's good to see you virtually. If you're tuned in via Facebook, do me a favor. Make sure you like this video. If you really enjoy this broadcast and our ministry, make sure you love this video. Hit that @ symbol, hit the share button, tag 5 of your friends and tell them to tune in tonight. They might still be at work. They might be on the way home. They may have just gotten home. But tag somebody and tell them to tune in tonight for Bible study. We call it life study. And I promise you, you and them are going to be blessed. So thank you so much, Facebook, for tuning in. Again, make sure you like this video, share this video. For every viewer, I want to share this video, and then hit that @ symbol, tag 5 of your closest friends and tell them to tune in tonight. And we are certain that they're going to be blessed for being here tonight. Instagram, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuning in Instagram, of course, is the late church, but they will be here. Good evening to you. If you're on Instagram, fill it up with hearts. Let me know you're there. And then also, if you're on Instagram, hit that @ symbol. I want you to tag 5 people. Tell them to tune in tonight for a very powerful message, lesson, start over. That's what I'm teaching tonight. And we'll likely be teaching this tonight and next week. But good evening to you, Instagram. And again, do the same thing. If you're on Instagram, hit that @ symbol, tag 5 of your closest friends, followers on Instagram, and tell them to tune in and join us tonight. And we know they're going to be blessed for doing that. All right. YouTube, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, I don't know, my camera feels a little weird. And those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, good evening to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like this video. If you have not liked our channel, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification icon on YouTube. That way you can be notified every time we go live. Subscribe to our channel on notification every time we go live. That pops up on my phone. Says that lets me know live. And it was busy like mine. That reminder. Sometimes it's one of the awesome things about YouTube and especially Instagram. They do a really good job of notifying you when people are live. And so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already. And then like this video on YouTube, hit that bell notification icon, and then hit that share button. And I want you to share this video with 5 people, 5 of your friends that you're connected to, family members that might benefit from this awesome lesson tonight. I'm just, again, excited to teach it to you. I got a feeling this is going to be another one of those nights. Maybe attendance will be low, but the word is going to be incredible and amazing. And that's always the case here at the Rehab Christian Center. And so, again, it's an honor to see you tonight and a pleasure to have you all tuned in and join in with us. Now, let's get into this. I want to teach tonight from the subject, start over. I want you to put that in the comments tonight. Start over. is what we're going to be teaching tonight. And again, I'm going to be jumping a few places in terms of biblical references. I'm going to be jumping a few places tonight because I'm going to give you some practicality, but I'm also going to give you some biblical references that you can connect these points to, so that you're not only the smartest person at the water cooler tomorrow, but also so that you have some practical ways to connect the text with the things that we're sharing tonight. All right, so I'm going to deal with this tonight. Start over is what I'm going to talk about. And I want you to make sure you type that in the comments tonight, and let's get into it. Now, I want to give you three things to remember about starting over. I want to start here. If you would allow me to give you three things to remember about starting over. And this is really good to provide good context for us tonight. Before I give you three reasons you ought to start over, I'm going to give you three things to remember about starting over. All right. Three things to remember about starting over. And again, I want to be clear tonight that I am going to make this relate, really to any area of your life. I don't care what area of your life you may feel like you need to start over or press the reset button. These practical nuggets that I'm going to share tonight, you can apply to any area of your life. You really can. Any sector, segment of your life, you can really apply these principles that I'm going to share with you tonight. So again, I'm going to give you three things to remember about starting over. Let's start there, and we'll progress from there. All right, number one. First thing I want you to remember about starting over is this. Record this. The devil will use fear to make you pause instead of moving. Okay, the devil will use fear to make you pause instead of moving. Again, I'm giving you three things to remember about starting over before I give you three reasons to start over. All right, again, thing number one, the devil will use fear to make you pause instead of moving. Okay, the devil will use fear to make you pause instead of moving. Here's what we know, and I've taught so many lessons at Rehab, so many lessons in general, really in my career, in the coaching and training that I do on fear. And let me just mention this quickly about fear. We've talked about fear in so many life study lessons and so many contexts here at Rehab, but I want to say this about fear. If I had to choose a single reason why, frankly, a single solitary reason why so many people are so fearful about starting over, or so cautious, rather, because you can't define a word with a word, so cautious about starting over. One of those main reasons is fear. Fear tends to be one of the main reasons why people really struggle with coming off the sideline and starting over. And this is something that we need to be honest about. Okay, this is something we need to be honest about, because again, if we are not honest about the impact of fear and how fear impacts our ability to start over, then we're not going to be honest about those emotions that we feel when we're on the sidelines, really pausing instead of pursuing the things that we should go after. I know this. This is what I know for a fact. You think at the end of the day, most things you need to start over in are things that ultimately failed. All right. And to an extent, that can be true. A lot of the things that we attempt to start over in is oftentimes those things that, frankly, on the surface, it appears we failed in. Here's the reality. You have to look at the things you failed in, quote unquote, failed in, not as failures, but as lessons. This is so important. I was sharing this with a client, I think it was last week. And one of the things that I said to this client is that you will feel positioned to start over much easier when you change your perspective on failure. I don't want y'all to miss this. I want you to record this in the comments. You're gonna be the smartest person in the water cooler all week. You already were, but you really are. I want you to record this. You know, the key to starting over is changing our perspective on failure. Don't y'all miss this. This is so important. The key for real that I've learned to starting over is changing your perspective on failure. Until you see failure a different way, you will view starting over as a place of going from scratch instead of starting from experience. And this is important. When you start over and you change your perspective on failure, then you realize that when you start over, you're not going to scratch, you're starting from experience. Are y'all listening to me? When you change your perspective on failure, you recognize that you're not starting over from scratch. You're starting over from experience. This is so important, y'all. I feel like I'm talking really slow. I know I am, but I'm doing this on purpose. Why? Because you have to understand that until you can really nail that down, you will begin to see your life as a situation where every time you have to start over, you will feel like, man, I got to go all the way back to the beginning. And this is where so many people fail. People feel like that when they start over, because they have the wrong perspective on failure, they feel like that because when they start over, they have to go all the way back to the beginning. And I want to tell you this tonight from personal experience, that when you start over, you are not starting over from scratch. You are starting over from the point in which you learned. I need y'all to catch this. You are starting over from the point at which you learned. You're not starting over from scratch. You're not starting over from a place, of from scratch, from point zero. You are starting over. This is important. You are starting over from a place called experience. Don't y'all ever forget this. When you are starting over in your life, you are starting over not from scratch. You are starting over from experience. And so this connects with fear in this regard. It connects with fear in this regard, in that fear causes you to look at this idea of, man, I got to start this over, or man, I got to do this over, or man, I got to, do this again, or man, I got to go from scratch and do whatever again. And when you look at that, you start to view it as, I'm going back to point zero. And it doesn't work that way. You're not going back to point zero. When you start over and you have gained experience, and most importantly, this is big, you have not only gained experience, but you have also learned from your experience. Then anytime you start over, you're not starting over from the beginning, from scratch. You are starting over from experience. Is this making sense to anybody? Okay. So again, I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse tonight, but I really feel the need to do this because this is going to be critical in your ability to understand that when you start over, you're not doing this from a place of necessarily new beginnings. I'm going to explain that a little bit later, but you're doing this from a place of what you have learned. All right. Is this making sense to anybody? All right. Again, I'm trying to take my time here because I want to be clear to all of you. And I want to make sure that you all are clear in understanding this tonight, that anytime you start over again, you're not starting over from a place of no experience. You're starting over from a place of experience, which means you're not starting off from scratch, which means fear should not be one of the major players in your decision to start over. Okay, this is important. All right. So again, the devil, point one, we talk about 3 things to remember when it comes to starting over. Point one, the devil will again use fear to make you pause instead of moving, right? He takes fear and makes you feel like, hey, if you start over, you got to go all the way back to the beginning. And I don't care what it is, relationships, money, careers, whatever. You never have to start anything over from the beginning if you've gained experience in that thing. Okay, if you've gained experience, and again, most importantly, you've learned. You never have to start from the beginning. You're going to start from a place called experience. So that's number one. Here we go. Number two. All right, we're talking about 3 things to remember about starting over. Here's the second thing I want you to remember. The hardest part about starting over is moving beyond the seeds of doubt. I'm going to explain this. The hardest part, in my opinion, to starting over is moving beyond the seeds of doubt, right? Seeds of doubt that are planted in your spirit. Sometimes people plant these seeds. More often than not, we plant our own seeds, right? We plant our own seeds of doubt in our minds, in our spirits, and those seeds, like any other thing that you plant in soil or ground, will do what? It will grow, right? And so, in my humble opinion, the hardest part about starting over is moving beyond those seeds of doubt, right? Moving beyond those seeds of what if? What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't pan out well? Here's a big one, right? If your perspective on failure hasn't changed, the big one is, what if I fail again? Right? Again, that won't make sense to you because I hear you. Many of you are saying, well, naturally, Dr. Zeb, of course, if I failed before, I'm going to think if I try something again, then I might fail again. Go back to the beginning of the tape. You've got to change your perspective on failure. Because when you change your perspective on failure, that one little adjustment of I didn't fail, I learned. I didn't fail, I gained experience. I didn't fail, I grew. When you change that one little perspective about how you see failure, then all of a sudden, this whole idea of what if I fail doesn't even cross your mind. At worst, right? At worst, what might cross your mind is, what if I end up having to learn again? Right? What if I end up having to learn this lesson again? Right? What if I end up having to grow through a similar experience again? Right? Your perspective is everything when it comes to starting over. So again, the hardest part, in my humble opinion, about starting over is, again, moving beyond the seeds of doubt that we have planted, that if we are honest, over time have materialized into a bunch of what ifs. What if I fail? What if I don't succeed? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't get help? What if I don't get support? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And so again, we move by that. We have to learn how to move beyond that. And that much connects to point number one, in that we're able to in a much easier way, move beyond that by shifting our perspective. Okay? Number 3, here's the third thing I want you to remember about starting over. And then we're going to get into these 3 reasons to start over. Again, I don't think I'm going to get through this tonight. I don't know. I'm doing pretty good on time. So we'll see. Sister Michelle might be a part too. I beat you to it. All right. Third reason, or third thing I want you to remember about starting over is this. Starting over should encourage two things: self-examination and help you see what you've missed. I'm going to explain. Starting over should encourage two things. One, it should encourage self-examination. And two, starting over should help you see what you've missed. Starting over should encourage one, self-examination, and two, it should help you see what you've missed. Let's deal with this. When you start over in anything, I don't care what it is, when you say, hey, I'm going to press the reset button, I'm going to try this again, right? I'm going to try that again. I'm going to give that a shot again. None of that matters, right? Your desire and eagerness to start over is not as important as your ability and willingness to examine yourself as you go through the process of starting over. This is so good here. I'm going to say this again. Your desire to start over should not be greater than your willingness to examine yourself while you're in the process of starting over. And again, I'm giving you nuggets that can apply to anything. You're going to start over in a relationship, start over in a career, start over in a business, that didn't work out, start over in whatever. These same principles apply. Your willingness, again, to start over should not be greater than your willingness to examine yourself. Let me tell you why this is important. Let's use failing in a business as an example. This is an easy example, but again, this applies to everything. Let's use failing in a business as an example. Let's say you start a business and you quote unquote fail. Go back to see the beginning of the video. Your perspective on failure hadn't changed. You saw, the business not going well as failure, not as experience as learning. You failed in the business. If you failed in the business, you may get to a point where you grow and learn how you failed, right? I failed because this didn't go well. This wasn't executed well. This didn't happen well. If this would have been adjusted, it could have gone better. If this would have been different, we would have branded this different. It could have gone better, right? These are all things that you can see in hindsight, right? Hindsight, as we've all heard, is 20/20, right? Your vision oftentimes is clear after the fact, right? So you can see perhaps how your business failed clearly, maybe after the failure. But here's the problem. If you don't see your role in the failure, you're going to turn around and repeat the same thing. This is so good tonight, man. I mean, our numbers are low. It's always like, this is rich tonight. Are y'all listening to me? You can examine what you learned from a situation that failed, but if you don't examine your role in it, you are very likely to turn around and repeat the same failure again. And this is the explanation that I want to offer to many of you who find yourself over and over and over again experiencing the same things over and over and over again, the same failures over and over and over again, the same lessons over and over and over again, the same hurt over and over and over again, the same heartache over and over and over again. Let me tell you why you experience those cycles. You're experiencing those cycles not because you can't interpret what you're experiencing. You're smart enough to interpret what you're experiencing. You're not self-aware enough to recognize your role. Are y'all listening to me? And I agree with that, Liv. You're absolutely right. I don't even trip on numbers. Effectiveness, it has nothing to do with numbers at all. Are y'all listening to me? Many of you are experiencing the same things over and over and over again, not because you ain't figured out how the business failed the first time. You figured that part out. What you haven't figured out is the fact that when you started the business the first time, you was only doing 20 hours a week. Now, you need to realize, in addition to all the other lessons you learned, that maybe you ought to up your hours to 60 hours a week. See, starting over should encourage you to examine your role in what you're going to start over in. This is why, let me just say something to burn y'all up, make y'all upset, some of y'all upset. This is why I don't understand. Let me help y'all. I don't understand why people, I don't understand why put with people, disconnect with people, leave people, leave spaces, whatever. Now, I know I'm not going to get a lot of agreement here, but y'all just hear me out. Break up with people, leave spaces, whatever. Then you go on social media and you block them. Now, I'm going to I'm going to explain this. Y'all just give me a lesson. I'm going to make it all make sense. The reason I don't understand that is because if you had any role at all in your disconnection with people, those people you block, all you're going to do is meet new people, end up in new situations. And if you didn't learn from your role in the previous ones, you're going to just meet new people that eventually you're going to have to block later too. I get blocked all the time. I don't. I get blocked all the time. And I like the sister Michelle said, so I don't fall in the hey big head trap. You don't have to fall in that trap. See, if you fall in that trap, let's use that. I appreciate that candid honesty, of course, from Sister Michelle. She says, hey, I blocked people I was in a relationship with. So me with the hey big head, I don't fall. Let me ask you a question. If you fall for it, did you learn? Because here's the reality. Most of y'all ain't heard hey big head one time. Oh, y'all quiet. Quiet on this live. Are y'all listening to you ain't heard hey big head one time? You have heard hey big head one time. And here's the problem. You heard hey big head one time and you knew big head was coming, which is why you blocked in the first place. Y'all missing this, man. I'm dropping bombs. You blocked in the first place because you knew hey big head was coming. So you learned something from the experience. Here's the problem. You didn't learn your role in it. And your role is not falling for the same trap. Are y'all listening to the old man tonight? And so I don't get this, right? You know, some of y'all leave a church and you block the pastor. You know, unless the pastor's psycho, some of these pastors be out here, real mad and doing crazy stuff. Don't leave your church and block your pastor. He ain't done nothing to you. If you want to unfriend him, that's fine. If you don't want to see his stories on your social media, that's fine. You can mute stories now on social media. Do that. But some of y'all blocking people, and the crazy thing is when you don't learn your lessons in situations, you leave one situation, go into a new one, and you repeat the same patterns. Let me help y'all. This is going to bust some of y'all's bubble. You ready? I'm getting ready to make some of y'all mad. There's a good chance that if you have one failed relationship, listen to me. Sister Michelle said it's better to block than to burn. There's a really good chance that if you had a failed relationship where you had a role in the failure, listen to me. Y'all listen to me clear. If there was a failed relationship you experienced and you had a role in the failure, and after the failure, you unfriended them and you blocked them and you started a new relationship, there is a really good chance that if that relationship fails, you're going to block that person too. But there's also a really good chance that if you didn't learn from the first one, you probably had a same or similar role in the second one. And so at a certain point, you will find yourself criticizing, punishing people for failures that you played a role in. And this is where starting over and self-examination or self-awareness really meet with one another. Because I'm telling y'all, how much you pray, fast, you can put real, how much you do. If you ain't learned from none of your relationships, your role in it, God can drop the perfect dude, the perfect woman in your lap, and you're going to mess around and do the same thing to him or her that you did for the. Some of y'all got more jobs. You have had more jobs. You have had more jobs in the last 12 months. Some of y'all have been in 8 different roles, 8 different companies in the last 12 months, and you ain't caught the pattern. Now I'm putting my HR hat on. You ain't. I'm here to tell you, you have had 8 jobs last year. And when we talk to you about your career, all we hear is, man, them people on them jobs crazy. There's a really good chance all 8 of them ain't crazy. I'm not talking about contracting, smarty pants. I'm not talking about a contracted job. I'm talking about these are permanent jobs where y'all are jumping permanent jobs from one job to one job to one permanent job to another within the last 1 or 2 years, and you had 8 permanent. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And y'all treat jobs like this. Y'all treat relationships like this. God knows y'all. As a pastor, let me tell you, y'all really treat churches like this. Some of y'all jump from church to church to church. Some of y'all jump from church to church to church to church. And it'd be so crazy because when you get to your new church, you be singing a swan song about your old church. But then when we research you, you got history of leaving all your churches and saying the same things. So at a certain point, it can't be all the churches you left. Y'all don't like this kind of teaching. At a certain point, if you leave all the relationships and you saying the same thing about all the relationships, at a certain point, it can't be all the people you was talking to. I mean, is this too practical for y'all? And the reason why this is important is because you can't start over in nothing without examining yourself. The Bible says, let a man first examine himself. I'm telling you, when you examine yourself, even if what you leave, what you disconnect from, had a role in you leaving, it is impossible for you to leave spaces, start over from experiences without seeing your role in the situation and saying to yourself, Zeb, yeah, they did this. Yeah, they did that. But I could have done A, B, and C better. See, that's growth, y'all. Self-examination is growth. Self-awareness is growth. And y'all be quick, man, storm out, man. This job crazy. That boss was crazy. I couldn't stand. I couldn't wait to get out here, get to my new job. But maturity says, yeah, all of that might be true. You might have a crazy boss that was sending emails in size 40 fonts. I had a boss one time, corporate America. I was young in my career. This lady, one of the craziest ladies I ever worked for. I was young. And this lady used to fuss at us and send us emails in like size 60 font, and it would be red, bolded. I ain't kidding you. I don't even know if I still got them on my old Yahoo email address. The lady was nuts. Okay, the lady was nuts, right? That's a fact. But even when I left that position, that was the last corporate position I had before I came into higher ed. When I came into higher ed, the convenient thing for me to do was to say, man, my last boss, man, she was crazy. That's the convenient thing to do. She did this. She sent all these emails in all caps. The mature thing was to say, yeah, she was crazy, but I was young in my career. There's some things that I could have done better in terms of how I communicated with the team, how I prepared for work every day. See, that's y'all be leaving places and trying to blow up the spot and trying to make people look crazy. And what you don't realize is if you'd have left every space and all 10 of the spaces you left, you have tried to make all of those people look crazy. At a certain point, folk gonna be looking at you like everybody ain't crazy. So it's easy to start over when you're self-aware, number one. And number two, starting over should help you to see what you've missed, meaning not what you missed about other people, but what you've missed about yourself. Can I help y'all? I want y'all to record this. All right. I want y'all to record this because some of the greatest growth moments of my life have occurred when I put in the work to start over. I want y'all to record this. Okay? I ain't going to give you no fairy tale tonight. I'm going to tell you the truth. Record this. It's 4 words I want you to record. You ready? Starting over is work. Starting over is work. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it's involving. Career, relationship, friendships, moving to a new city, buying a new house. Lord knows I hate moving. I hate moving with a passion. I hate boxing up stuff. I hate the process. Always make my stomach turn. Moving from anywhere. I can't. I just hate moving because it's just a lot. But let me tell y'all something. Starting over is work. It's work. And see, when you're willing in the work, starting over, that's when you learn the lessons. Folk ain't learning lessons because they don't want to put in the work. It's more than just packing up boxes. Part of putting in the work is saying, you know what? Yeah, my boss was crazy sending size 60 font emails. There were some things that I could have done better. I could have worked on A, B, C, D, and E. So now that I'm in this new job and I'm out of the place with this crazy boss, let me now work on these 5 things that I could have done better so that in this new career, I don't repeat the cycle in a new environment. And y'all don't do that. Y'all break up with your man. You claim that he was the only crazy one. You claim that he was the only moody one. You claim that she was the only foolish one. You claim that she was the only one with problems. And you walk away that you didn't have no issues, that your attitude on your stuff didn't stink. Else, and what do? You find yourself right in the same spot again. Y'all don't like this kind of teaching. Man, it don't get no more practical than this. And that's because you started over, but you didn't pay attention to what you missed. And so it's one thing to start over. It's another thing to start and say, hey, I'm going to pay attention to what I missed. I'm going to pay attention to the things I fell short in. I'm going to pay attention to the things I could have done better. I'm going to pay attention to the ways that I could have improved. I'm going to pay attention to the ways I could have been a better employee. I'm going to pay attention to the ways I could have been a better spouse or a better mate. That's the kind of growth and maturity that you need if you're going to start over in anything, or else end up in cycles. And y'all, cycles, y'all ain't going to like this. Cycles are not forced. Cycles are a choice. I need y'all to record this. Cycles are not forced. I don't care what it is. Cycles are a choice. Michelle, this is way better than folks saying amen tonight. I'm telling y'all, you should never miss life study. Life study be like this every week. Cycles are not forced, which means ain't nobody forcing a cycle on your life. Nobody. Ain't nobody forcing you to go over and go through something for the 15th time. Nobody forcing a cycle on you. You chose the cycle. And one of the main reasons I can definitively say you choose the cycles that you experience is because when people go through things and they have to start over, they don't start over with self-examination. They don't start over paying attention to those lessons that they missed before. They don't start over moving beyond the seeds of doubt. They don't start over with a new mindset of fear, right? Not seeing failure as fear, but seeing failure as experience. They don't start over that way. They start over getting a brand new job with the same mentality, no lessons learned. And what do? You repeat. You repeat. You repeat. That's all you do. Cycles, y'all, listen to me, are not forced. Cycles are a choice. So if you're in any kind of cycles of your life, listen to me right now. If you're in any kind of cycle of your life where you can see patterns in your relationships, your failed relationships, patterns in your failed careers, patterns in your failed friendships, patterns in how you fail with dealing with money, patterns in how your businesses have failed, patterns in all of these areas of your life that you're not satisfied with, and you see these patterns, I'm telling you now, you can stop the cycle. The only reason you're repeating is because you ain't figured out the lesson yet. The only reason you repeat is because you ain't figured out your role in the lesson yet. That's the only reason you repeat. Figure that out. If you figure that out, step your role in it, watch, and you still fail, then all of a sudden you ain't a failure. You crazy. You stupid. What I said. If you have learned the lesson and figured out your role in it, still doing it, stupid. Because only people repeat things the same way, knowingly, and expect different results. Y'all don't like this kind of teaching, man. I'm serious. And listen, here we go. Because I don't want y'all, I ain't gonna tune into this bald-headed old man no more. He didn't call me stupid. Let me raise my hand here. How many of you can be honest and admit? Let's see how many of the 22 people I got on the lives tonight. Let me see how many of you can be honest enough to admit and say, there are some things you repeated in your life. You learned the lesson. You learned the experience, and you recognize your role in it. Watch this. And you still turned around and repeated it again. See how many people bold enough to put the raise hand emoji on this. See, it takes maturity to even admit that. I can raise my hand. There are things I learned, and I learned my role. I learned the experience, and then I turned right around like a big dummy. And did it again. Guess what, y'all? And see, this we do. We do that, and then we say, oh, Lord, I need the Lord to pull me out of this cycle. I need the Lord to break this cycle. No, you don't need the Lord. God ain't got nothing to do with that. God ain't got nothing to do with that. He has nothing to do with that. That's a cycle you created. And the reason I can say that is a cycle you created is because you learned the lesson, you learned your role in it, and you still did it anyway. I like that, Nick. Man, you got sometimes, man, we be thanking God for big stuff, man, for car, house, stuff. Let me tell y'all something. I'm in a season of my life for real. Nick, I gotta steal this. I'm gonna give you credit, Nick. I gotta steal it though. I'm in a season of my life for real. While people walking around here thanking God for houses, clothes, money, stuff like that. You know, that stuff is great if that's what you need, if that's the level of your life that you're on. But let me tell you something. I've had all of that. Money, clothes, I'm good. But let me tell y'all something. I'm in a season of my life right now where I am so grateful that I ain't still doing stupid stuff. Is there anybody here that has ever reached a season in their life where they became less grateful for material things and more grateful for things like, hey, man, I'm just glad I ain't repeating the same stupid things. I ain't still doing the same stupid stuff. Watch, with the same stupid people. Y'all don't like this kind of teaching. See, that's growth, right? I'm just thankful. Yeah, the material stuff is great, but I'm thankful. I know, man, Bryce, and you right on time. I'm just thankful for the growth to say, man, the same stupid mistakes that I knowingly made on purpose. Y'all be praying over the stuff you did by accident. I used to be going to God, be like, look, forgive me for the stuff I did on purpose because I knew what I was doing. It was intentional. I knew the repercussions, and I did it anyway. I used to ask God, to forgive me for that kind of stuff. But man, it feels great. I can't remember the last time I prayed and said, hey, God, forgive me for doing this thing that I did right here on purpose. Because, man, when you really grow for real, you break them cycles, man. When you lesson in what yourself, just repeating stuff. Haphazardly repeating stuff. You find yourself learning from lessons and making sure that you don't repeat those things. I need you to learn the lesson in this season of your life. I need you to learn the lesson in your life. We all don't have to hands again and say experience to learn, and I still turned around and did the same stupid thing again. That's a terrible place to be in. We've all, if we are honest, we've all been there. Because again, I'm saying this from a place of experience. Many of the things in our lives that we have repeated, we've called cycles, when really it was just stupidity. That wasn't a cycle, that was stupidity. Right? Because we become stupid when we repeat things that we knowingly learn the lessons from, understand the ramifications for, and we do it again anyway. Amen? Is that making sense? All right? And so that's where I want you. I'm not trying to get you to me. Right? Because Nick, and this is my conversation. Let me make a note here, because obviously there's going to be a part two. Let me make a note here, because there's something. Look, I got to balance this out, and I'm going to run probably about 5 minutes over tonight. And y'all just bear with me, because I got to say this, and this is important. I'm going to start here, and I'm putting a note to tell myself where to start here. Look. I'm going to pick again on Sister Nick, and I know she doesn't mind this. Nikki doesn't mind this, but she said, yep, been there, been done. That's how I talk to myself. And one of the things that I learned this last 2 or 3 years of my life is I've really learned how to be more gentle on myself. Okay, this is important. I don't want to go into too much psychology and counseling with y'all tonight, but I think this is relevant here. Because even when you repeat things knowingly, right, and you do stupid things, right, like meaning you do things over and over, you create cycles in your life. You've created cycles in spite of you've learned, in spite of you coming to an understanding of your role in it. You create cycles in your life. It's a thing to recognize your role and your stupidity, but you got to be careful. Stupid in a situation or stupid concerning a behavior repetitively, you've got to be careful not to be overly hard on yourself. And I'll start here next week. I'm going to start with talking a little bit about how to be gentle on yourself, because part of being able to start over is not only recognizing the cycles you created, but part of being able to start over is also being gentle on yourself. And this is so good. You have to learn how to be gentle on yourself, or else, if you're not careful, in the process of starting over, if you beat yourself up much, you won't be able to progress forward because of things like guilt and shame, right? This is where things like guilt and shame show up. A lot of people haven't progressed forward, not because they aren't capable, not because they haven't learned the experience, but because they beat themselves down so bad that now it becomes less of an issue of can you start over and more of an issue of I feel so guilty and shamed because of the way I beat myself down for the way I've done the things I've done. Is this making sense to anybody at all tonight? I mean, I could teach this for another hour. Is this making sense to anybody at all tonight? Right. It's a crazy dynamic in that you have to learn how to balance or find the balance between being hard on yourself versus beating up on yourself so much that you end up going to a state of guilt and shame, so that even if you do want to start over, you ain't got the strength to start over. You beat yourself down too much. You criticize yourself too much. You've gone too far. You've called yourself stupid too many times. You've called yourself dumb too many times, to the point where, just like anything else, if you believe you're beautiful and you call yourself beautiful, Sooner or later, those words are going to stick to your spirit and you're going to believe it. Stupidity, dumb, works the same way. Keep calling yourself dumb, and sooner or later, you're going to get to a point where with all of your mess ups, you're going to start to say, man, maybe I am stupid. I'm kind of dumb. And you don't really believe that. And then it will be impossible for you to start over in certain areas of your life, because then you will have to deprogram. You will have to deprogram and reprogram your thoughts and reprogram your beliefs and reprogram the way you see yourself. Dig your way out of that hole and actually start over and pursue the things that you. Some of you can't pursue those things. Got to do some serious reprogramming. You got to reprogram all the years you called yourself stupid for the mistakes you made. You got to reprogram all the years you called yourself dumb for the things that you repeated that you knew better for doing. I'm not saying you're right, but I'm saying at a certain point, you got to learn how to be gentle on yourself. Now, I got to stop, man. It's 8 o'clock. This bless anybody tonight? Woo-wee. This bless any. This was heavy tonight. Did this bless anybody tonight? I'm telling you, you got to get over this hump of beating yourself down. You have to. Because if you do not, and do not learn how to be gentle on yourself, in addition to learning your lessons, learning the lessons of every experience, learning your role in every experience, you will not only create cycles intentionally, but you will find yourself moving from criticizing yourself to guilt and shame. And you'll be in a deep place where you won't even believe in yourself. Other people will be believing in you. You won't believe in yourself. Other people will be thinking you're a good catch, that you would make somebody a good husband, a good wife, a good boyfriend, a good girlfriend. But because you repeated the same cycle so much in the past, and you called yourself stupid and dumb so long for doing it, your self-esteem will hit the floor. And we can see the greatness all over you. But because you are in the pits, because you have not been gentle on yourself, you will never be able to climb out of that rut until you reprogram your mind. Man, I quit. I'm going back to watch tonight over again. Myself. Are y'all listening to me? Right? So you got to get out of that rut. Let's pray, y'all. I'm way over. Man, I'm way over. If you got a prayer request tonight, I want you to type it in the comments quickly. Hurry. I'm giving you 15 seconds. Hurry. I want you to type it in the comments really quickly. If you got a prayer request tonight, I got to stop. We will start with part 2. I'm noting it right now. Next week is the 22nd of March. That's great. As always, I didn't intend for this to be a series, but this is important stuff. I'm going to get some of you out of this hole by the time this series is over. I'm going to get you out of this hole in your life where you have dug yourself into. You have not learned from your cycles. You have beat yourself up because you repeated dumb things. And I got to get you out of this so that you can catch up with everybody else that believes in you. All right, come on, quickly. Good. Thanks, Nick. Thanks. Quickly. If you got a prayer request, I'm literally giving you 10 seconds. Type it, and then I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. I got to pray. All right, connect it. Hurry. I'm over, y'all. I didn't mean to run over like this tonight. Type your prayer request. Connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. Let's pray. Let's touch and agree. Let's do it. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you tonight for a powerful word. What a powerful word tonight you've shared with us, that you've dropped on our spirits tonight. I pray, God, that somebody takes this word literally, grabs this word by the neck and holds on to it, applies it to their lives so they can be everything you called them to be, everything they've been designed to be and more tonight. Help us, God, to recognize our roles in our past. Help us to recognize our role in the things in our lives that didn't go better, that did not go well, so that, God, we don't repeat cycles, but so that we learn from experience, so that we learn from failure, so that we learn from the elements and the areas of our lives that didn't go well, so that we can be better prepared the next time. I pray now, God, for every prayer request that has been quickly typed into this live chat, every prayer request that has been tapped into the replay, every prayer request that's been sent to our inbox, we lift them up to you tonight, that you would answer the prayers of your people, that you would make ways as only you can, that you would meet needs as only you can, that you would open doors as only you can. I thank you, God, this night for a week that will be filled with miracles. God, we believe you to answer the prayers of your people, to answer prayers for their businesses, to answer prayers for families and relationships and careers and finances. Somebody's in financial turmoil tonight. God, I want you to rescue them tonight. Make a way as only you can. Meet needs as only you can. And God, we won't praise you just because you do things for us. We will bless you because you've been God in our lives all the time. We thank you for these things and we count them done in Jesus' name. Amen. Do me a favor. I want you to type it in the comments quickly. It is so. If you prayed that prayer of faith, I want you to comments really quickly. It is so. It is so. Every time you say amen, you're simply saying it is so. And I want you to type that in the comments really quickly tonight. It is so. I want you to know I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I'm praying for the people that you have. Some of you have typed people in the comments. I really appreciate that boldness. You've typed family members in the comments, spouses, co-workers. That's such an awesome thing. I'm praying for everybody that you're touching and agreeing with. And I want you to know every morning this week, 4:40, I'm up. Even if you're sleeping, I'm up and I'm thinking about the people you've typed in the comments. And I want you to know that God's going to answer prayers. He's going to answer your prayer concerning them. And I'm so grateful for that. Listen, 30 seconds, 20 seconds. I want to challenge you to give. If this message, if this ministry, if this broadcast has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give. You can give one of three ways. You can give via CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE. You can give on our website, www.rehabcc.org. Choose online giving, or you can text REHABWORKS to 88202. That's REHABWORKS to 88202. And right from your cell phone, you can give, but you can give either one of these three ways. And I want to challenge you to give tonight. If this message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give. And I know God's going to bless you in a tremendous way. Again, CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE, website, www.rehabcc.org, and simply choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWORKS to 88202. That's REHABWORKS to 88202. And right to your cell phone, you will see a prompt. Click on that link. And you'll go right to our giving page and you can give from there. But I want to challenge you to give tonight. And then after you give, I want to challenge you to like this video, share this video. Would you do that for me? Like this video, share this video with as many people as you can. If you know anybody that's been challenged with starting over, I want you to share this video with them. And I promise you, they're going to see starting over in a completely different way. And we're just on part one. I cannot wait to see you next Tuesday. It's going to be a powerful part two. And I cannot wait to see you this Sunday for part two of Blame It On My Past. If you missed part one, go back and watch Sunday. You're going to be glad you did. And I can't wait to see you this Sunday morning at 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here at the Rehab Christian Center. Listen, y'all, I ran over. I apologize, but I love y'all. I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I need everybody to share this video and then make plans to see me on Sunday morning at 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here in this virtual format. Love you guys. Praying for you, rooting for you. Want you to have a fantastic week, and I will see you on Sunday. Peace and blessings.
For watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by CashAPP at $PastorZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encouraged, enlightened, and empowered you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful week.